Wow.
Hi.
Hello,
Wow.
everyone. We're live.
In cyberspace. Welcome to the world premiere, the first episode of The Link. And so where terms like girl, cis, and Miss Ma'am are all gender neutral. So
Always.
Right.
out of the way, right? We are a wonderful group of individuals from APLA Health Prevention Department, and we're here to talk about things like sexual health because that's what we're in the business of, as well as pop culture, politics, everything and anything you can think of that you talk about with your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your cousin from down the way, your friend, whoever it is. That's what we're here to do. So let's get started and let's introduce ourselves. Since I'm talking, I figure I'll go first.
Yes, you do that.
If you don't know, if you haven't seen our social media, my name is Kai Smith. I am program coordinator for Healthy Him and 10. I am 29 years old. I am not from LA, so I'm not a LA native. I am from Tucson, Arizona. I've been working with APLA now for 2 years, and it has honestly been one of the greatest jobs I've ever had because of the wonderful people that I'm here with today. And so this first episode of The Link, we want to introduce ourselves to you if you don't know, because if you're new out there and you are watching, hi, nice to meet you.
He's like this all the time too, so be prepared.
I'm so shy and I'm so calm all the time. But I want so for us to kind of give everyone a little appetizer, a little pig in a blanket. Is that what they're called? Pigs in the blanket before a meal, just a little snacky snack of what these shows are.
Right.
Location, yes.
Come on, hors d'oeuvres.
So with that, we will have our next person introduce themselves. I don't know, right?
Me. So, hello, everyone. I'm Rogelio. I started at APLA just about a year ago. I recently hit my 1 year mark. And of course, I was on Healthy Him.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Of course, I was on Healthy Him before, but I've recently transitioned onto Trans Connections, pun intended. Just to give a little bit of information about me, I was born and raised in Compton. Well, not really born because we don't have a hospital, but, raised my entire life in Compton. I went to school in Philly at the University of Pennsylvania. So I spent the better part of the last 6 years there, 4 out of those 6 years. And I came back 2018. Like I said, started working for APLA in 2019. What else can I say? I'm a textbook Sagittarius and I love cats.
Yeah, that's Sagittarius. I'm a Gemini, but the good kind.
Right.
Ooh,
Oh,
the
the
Geminis.
good
I like
kind.
Gemini.
Is there such a thing? Is there such a thing?
Yes. You like
We'll
me?
get a lot of
I love you.
responses from that.
I love you.
I think I'm next. So I am Ty. Most of you watching, I'm hoping that we've met to some capacity, but we may haven't. I do really, really great things at APLA Health. I'm our linkage to care for all of our programs. So if anyone diagnoses as HIV positive, they typically go through me. So we have either had a heartwarming moment or we've argued all in the same. We know each other. And I got my job done. I am 28, soon to be 29. I'm sitting here thinking about it now. I already kind of feel it. And I am a Libra, the good kind. Because I hear a lot of the times when people say, oh, you're a Libra, and then they lean back and I get it. We ain't, and I can't say what it is because you're on live, but we ain't sugar honey iced tea. So yes, that is me.
All right. Hey, everybody. Nice to meet you, Kai and Rogelio and Ty. Hello, wonderful people. I'm Daniel J. I am the prevention training specialist for Swap and Chill. I am 25 years old and proud of it.
Come on, 25.
I said plenty. Plenty. Let's see. I'm a Taurus, the best kind. Get into it. Born and raised in Los Angeles, California. I'm loud and I'm boisterous and I'm fabulous. And outside of being a part of the APLA Health family and now the Healthy Him program, which I'm very happy to be on, I used to be on Trans Connections and then I transitioned over into Healthy Him, pun not intended. But I'm so happy to be a part of this particular team. I work with some really amazing people and, if you've seen me on the IG, if you follow me just on my own personal IG, I'm oodles of noodles of fun, and I don't pull any punches. So this is going to be very interesting.
And she's really talented too.
Oh, we'll get into it. You know, she tries to say cute.
I also forgot to mention that I'm a Sprite, 23, but you know,
I
not relevant.
Come on, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I love it.
Right? But Daniel actually brought up a really good point about not pulling his punches. And that's what this show is really about. So everyone who's watching out there, yes, we understand that we are here. We are working. We are getting paid right now to talk to you all. But we also want to be real. And this is why this group particularly came together, is because, you know, back when we were allowed to be in, you know, the office together, we would have our little moments just passing by where we would kind of congregate and do our little kikis and our little talks. And some of those talks got so real, so quick. And they were some of the best and most insightful talks. And it was, someone said, this is awesome. Hi, thank you.
Hi, Elias and King Brooks. Thank you. Congrats.
Yeah, so everyone, please feel free to comment below. But this was, in my mind, this reminded me of us in our cubicles talking, coworkers kind of coming together, experiencing life differently, but also similar. And I can't wait for everyone else to hear some of the conversations that we have, because look, all of you,
I'm making a face right now because, like I said, the conversations are very insightful. I think that one thing that I've learned working with this collective of people is when you have something that you stand for and you have something that you believe in, you definitely have to know why you believe that. Like, you cannot just say, oh, it's just what I believe. You can't do that. I'm gonna need facts. I'm gonna need accounts, and I'm gonna need people telling me why they feel a specific way. Like, you cannot just say, oh, it's just because I do. That is not a valid argument. I definitely learned that with this collective right here. So I'm excited for y'all to see how we kind of break these topics down, and everybody has their own opinions, you know, and we all respect each other's opinions. And if they don't align with the other person's opinions, we always agree to disagree, and then we move on. But we want to hear what you guys think about some of this stuff too. So I can't wait to get into it.
Absolutely.
For sure.
I think our big thing is, like Ty was saying, is we actually hold each other accountable. So if someone says something that one of us doesn't agree on, there's always the, what?
Like, girl, huh?
I'm from, like, and this is true Taurus portion of me. I don't have to agree with you, but it has to make sense. And that's kind of where it lies. If it doesn't make sense, we're gonna have a problem, because I go along to get along. And so if you can make it make sense to me, whether I agree with it or not, we're good.
Exactly. I've always been the type of person who likes to challenge everything. I never take anything at face value. If someone tells me the sky is blue, I ask why. You know, it's not good enough to just look at it. So it's like,
I love when you and Kai get to those moments where you guys say my favorite thing. That's problematic.
Yeah, because it's like, my approach to things, especially being someone who grew up in a place like Compton, where we don't have access to a lot of these, you know, higher level conversations about inequality or, you know, X, Y, and Z. It's like, you have to meet people where they are. You can't just shame people, because a lot of us are ignorant, and things were designed that way, because keeping people ignorant also keeps them, you know, subservient. So I think it's really important for us to constantly question things. And that's why I love working at APLA Health. And not only is it an APLA thing, but just like these people specifically, and working in a like queer LGBT environment, you know, a lot of us have already grown up to acknowledge the fact that things aren't what they've seen, and, you know the importance of expanding our minds in that way. So I feel like we've all been able to grow so much from our conversations in ways that I at least haven't been able to experience since like college.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, going from, and everyone else can chime in, going from the culture of, you know, the typical heteronormative workplace into APLA, where everyone that work with, almost everyone, is queer or somewhere on the spectrum, and a large portion of what we work with are people of color, has completely changed my mind on how I interact at work and what I think work really is. Because, you know, normally work is a paycheck. You go to work, you get your money, you go back. But I can say this is the first experience I've had where, on a large scale, I've made connections with people. And it is because we do have different experiences, but I think we all come from this mindset of trying to find our own world in where we live. So that's my favorite part, is getting to hear everyone else's different experiences and talking about the same thing from different lenses and viewpoints.
Agreed. Absolutely. So I think that all Also, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you go, girl.
No, I was going to say really, really quickly. Also, I think that it's always interesting because you brought up, heteronormative corporate America, and, not being able to have these type of conversations and be comfortable with them. I come from corporate America as well before this job. So my first year was just trying to figure out, one, how to, I guess, relay how I feel about certain topics, but then also getting comfortable enough to have that conversation. You know what I mean? We talk about a lot of things that are taboo when people don't have a conversation about sex and STDs and the joys of sex. Like, we're not going to sit here and tell you not to have sex. Like, it's going to be very interesting. I'm excited.
Yeah, I will say we've had some wonderful sex conversations that I could not imagine having at my old job at like insurance companies or as a teacher talking about fisting and different types of. But that's just a Tuesday for us.
Right.
I feel like in my last job,
just a Tuesday.
I always kind of go into a workplace or any space really, and you try to weed out who else could be queer here. And I remember recognizing the person. I was like, those eyebrows, he's family, right? But but what I noticed, it's those little moments that you need in those workspaces to kind of help validate you and normalize it. Because up until then, at least for me, it's I don't know if it's okay to mention my queerness. Are people going to feel weird about it? I was working in Compton at the time, in a preschool system, nevertheless. So that was, a pretty precarious situation for a queer person to be in sometimes. So it's just those little moments that, you don't really have to worry about when you work somewhere like APLA, where you are surrounded by a lot of people who are in the community.
I will say that it's definitely working with APLA, specifically with our department and where we work in the education center. It is definitely nice to have others of a same experience and the same journey. Because, I'm with you. I've worked in corporate America, but I've also been a part of nonprofit as well for years of my life. I've done nonprofit work, and I've always been the little gay boy just out there, just on his own. I've been me 100% of the time. And so those conversations have never been necessarily awkward for me to have, but to be in spaces where you're not supported, to be in spaces where others aren't comfortable enough to have those conversations, it wears on you. So to be in this space and be like, oh, we can talk about sex, we can talk about, politics, we can talk about, Black Lives Matter, and have that camaraderie, that feels good. And to know that I can come to work with a full beat face and nobody blink an eye. It's,
okay.
I love it.
Right. I think we also have to acknowledge the parts that may not be as good too. Just the small petty things, like the awkwardness of seeing your coworkers on Grindr, or
Very
something
true.
like that, little experiences like that, which is also ways in which
girl,
it's great to work in a queer space.
Mind your business.
Right.
Mind your business.
It's great working in a queer space, but it also requires us to bring a little bit of our personal selves into it that I think in other jobs we're able to separate.
And to that point, Rogelio, I have made an effort in the office. I can't do Grindr or Jack. I can't.
Right.
I wouldn't even do it during the process of the day to check it. But I don't have it now. I'm off it completely because it's some weirdos on that app. But when you are on that app and you are sitting at your desk and your clients are on it, and it's your coworkers are on it, I'm like, okay, no, it's time to disconnect. That's a big no. Right. Gotta go. I don't want to get the whole, what are you doing for lunch? I'm working. Please don't ask me any questions. I'm a real prevention training specialist. I wasn't just sitting here shopping for Gucci. I'm doing work.
Well, let's go ahead and now that everyone has met us and kind of little idea of who we are, I want to get to our first topic for today. In this world we live in, of 2020, the year of our Lord, as some would say, it is COVID.
Year of reckoning.
It is COVID everywhere. And obviously we know how horrible COVID has affected different communities, especially communities of color. We've seen the devastating loss. We've seen, our government fail to react. We've seen a lot of people not take these seriously. But what I want to talk about is what we have taken from this time, because we literally haven't really worked in the office together since March. And, beforehand, everyone thought this was going to be so great. You get your nice little vacation, you get your little time off, and I realized I've learned so much more about myself than I thought I would or was expecting to. So I want to open this up. And what's something that you have taken so far from COVID? Because the way the world is now, we're never going back. There's no more normal for
Right.
this. Like our culture, our life completely changed from this. What is something that you've taken from all of this?
Who wants to go first?
Right.
I can go if you want. So one of the biggest things for me has just been like realizing how much I held myself back before, because it's like before, I mean, to be quite honest, it's like my transition into, stay at home and all that stuff, like it wasn't that drastic for me because I wasn't going out much. I didn't have that many friends in LA, but like now that I think about it, I'm like, I held myself back so much. And now that I don't have the option, now that I can't just like do something fun and casual or like ask a coworker if they want to, go out for drinks or something, now that the option isn't really there, it's making me think like, when or if this is ever over, that like I really need to take those chances more because, at the end of the day, you only have so much time. And this has really made me realize how much I don't, put myself out there as much as I'd like to. And I think also just like seeing all the conversations about like social justice going on and racism, I think that's been really inspiring, and seeing how much people have been moved in this particular time. So that's really just been enlightening in terms of like accountability and realizing that like just because there is a big peak or a big spike in these kinds of conversations, that it should always be something active in our minds if anti-racism or any social justice issue is something that you really care about.
Yeah. I think I kind of have to echo a little bit of what you said, but I'm on the different end. So before COVID-19, I was always doing something. There was always an event or friends or people asking me, what are you doing today? I'm like, oh, I'm going here, here, and here. And for me, the shutdown at first was like a vacation. As I said, like I thought, ooh, great. I don't need to see anybody, I don't need to talk to anybody. I alone time. About 1 month in, though, you start to realize that like you are basically trapped, and it felt like I was trapped. My circumstances are sometimes a little different than most people because my partner is an ER nurse, so I'm on like a little bit of an extra high alert because he's constantly kind of interacting with people who are either COVID positive or expected to be COVID positive.
Symptomatic.
Yeah, so for us, it's a matter of keeping him healthy and safe, as well as could he bring anything, like depending on where he works in the day, we have to like before he even walks in the door, shoes go in a plastic bag, we got to disinfect things. That's kind of like our life. So I started feeling really trapped. Like there was this moment of me just sitting at home, and Eric would be sitting next to me. I'm like, I don't have anything for myself. Like the world doesn't exist. I have nothing. What am I doing? And I really got into this state because early on in COVID, I felt like a lot of people were like, this is the time to make your life better. This is the time to improve yourself.
Right.
Like, oh, what am I doing? I have nothing. For me, COVID to slow down, to really just enjoy peace. And really, because you guys, everyone at work knows that my big word is boundaries. I love good boundaries. I will.
No, really?
Kai, boundaries?
What?
I feel like we all started saying that more when we met Kai.
Kai taught us boundaries.
Right.
But for me, it was, I created so many boundaries for myself that when it was moments like this, I felt trapped in my own boundaries. So it was about kind of loosening up a little bit to be, it's okay not to be productive today. I got to work, I did my work, and did I do extra today? Did I go above and beyond? No, but that doesn't make the day worse. It just means today wasn't my day, but it'll be more like this tomorrow. So it was me making the most of this quiet that I have. And plants. If y'all watch me, my plant obsession has exploded.
Well, I don't mean to break up all the good joy, wonderful. COVID taught me how stupid people are. That's what it.
And I will echo that when you're
that's
done.
Really, that's really what it taught me. I am somebody that outside of APLA, I'm an online personality, so I'm in some way in the public eye a lot. And so when people see me online, they expect for me to be, this big personality and, sociable. So people think that I'm just, all over the place, that I'm just a social butterfly, but really I am a couch potato. I do not like crowds. I barely like people. I'm with who I'm with. But I can do with or without it. But I think one of the things that COVID really taught me was the concept of real consideration. And I think for a lot of people who had to transition into working from home, they too also understood that not everybody considers what you have going on in your work life. Like, we are so accustomed to people doing their job in the office and, kind of being on this rotation of, this is what you do in the office, this is what you do in your day. And, if I ask you to do something, then it gets done. But when you have to work from home, especially if you are living in a space where it is shared, and you may not have, the grandiose house or the grandiose condo or townhouse or whatever, you really have to make some things happen. And a lot of people don't consider that. They don't consider your time. They don't consider, what you have to move around and manage to make something possible. What COVID taught me personally, though, is it really taught me how to give grace and to really look at someone's circumstance. And before I get upset at what they can't do or won't do or didn't do, it's like, okay, well, what are they dealing with? What are they navigating in this space and time? Especially for, I'm lucky. I live with my best friend. So, we haven't pulled each other's hair out. We work really well together in the same space. But there are people who don't have that. There are people who are literally at home by themselves, dealing with this by themselves. And if you couple COVID with the civil unrest that we've been dealing with in our country, the presidency and all that good, wonderful stuff that we see on our timelines. When you put all that together on top of your job, on top of your person, on top of your health, it's a lot. And so it has really, really taught me to be more considerate, give more grace. But it definitely has shown me that there are some pretty ignorant, inconsiderate people.
Agreed. I'm going to echo everything that Daniel just said. Everybody that knows me, before COVID-19, I didn't have no vacation time or sick time anyway, so this has been a blessing. I said it. What's up?
We knew at least 2
sick
Mondays
time every
of the
third
month
Monday.
you were not coming in.
Because Mondays are hard for me, but
we knew at least 2 of them a month you was out.
2 of them is enough. Like, maybe even a Friday somewhere in there. People are like, are you sick? I think so. But anyway, I think that at the end of the day, what I took from COVID-19 was there is an ability to come together as a unit. And then there's also that same ability to continue to be divided. And like Daniel spoke about earlier, when you're watching all of the civil unrest and you're watching, people arguing about masks and firearms at peaceful protests on different sides, the past couple months have been a lot. And I'm a homebody like Daniel. I don't like leaving my couch. I love staying in my kitchen. I like sitting right here. But I will definitely say I miss interacting with our clients, only because our clients are like, they're family to us. You know what I mean? We gain these relationships with these families, with these clients, and they become family. And it's like, you watch the news, and my first thing, I feel like a mother with kids. My first thing is like, I have clients that live downtown. I hope they're okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm hoping that they're fine. So I found myself more worried than I've ever been in my lifetime about my family, about you guys, about myself, about my clients, about my friends. Like, it's a lot. But I will say, when people say that they've had a tough time working from home, I'm like, okay, girl. All right. Sorry to hear that, sis.
I will say I don't like working from home. I appreciate it, but I don't like it only for the fact that I don't like having everything be in the same space.
Right.
Like, I enjoy going to an office space, and when I leave work, I leave work
Mhm.
where it is. But when you work
Yeah.
from home, honey, and that computer is staring you in the face,
Right, and you're staring
staring
at the same computer.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, and I have to figure out which shirts I'm gonna hide my underwear for the Zoom call. Like, it's just
Right.
Listen.
Sometimes I'm like drifting off to sleep, and I hear the email notification from
Oh.
Outlook, and I'm like,
like, oh damn it.
Was
I
that
gotta read
Grinder?
it.
no,
So,
but
I definitely miss The Office. Definitely miss The
Yeah.
Office.
yeah, I'm definitely somebody who benefits a lot from that structure of having like a workspace, an office space. Like I really struggle with concentrating and focusing if I don't have the environment for it. So it's been really hard to
Yeah.
fight my urge to work from my bed and all that stuff.
So I
Right.
can't,
So I do
do
miss the
that.
office.
I am not able to work from my bed. If I work from my
Yeah.
bed, that turns
You
into
sleep.
only checking emails, falling asleep, and watching porn. I cannot. I stay far away from the bed. I stay right here where it's an office space. I look like I'm about to do something important, so I stay on that important path.
Yeah, for me, I definitely will say having to separate both was in the beginning really, really hard because it was, you start work at 8 a.m., you set your alarm for 8 a.m. and you turn on your computer.
Mhm.
You're working.
Right.
Joseph Wallace said, I have some work variety in my day. I go sit in the car and work if I have to. If I had a car, I would sit in the car and drive to Vegas. I can't go there either. So I would stay right here, Joseph.
And see, my roommate is a producer. Like that's her life. She is a producer, audio engineer. So when my day starts in the
She's
morning,
really good, by the way, y'all.
she's
So look her up.
amazing.
She's amazing.
Check her resume. You can Google her.
Yeah.
Google her. But my day starts in the morning most time. And I work from the morning until late evening. And so when I'm finishing my day, 9 times out of 10, she's starting hers. So she's in her lab space and she's, playing loud music and she's mixing and she's mastering and producing all. And I'll be like, Lord. So when I tell you it has been a struggle, working from home and figuring out schedules. And I know, Kai, you same thing. You talked about this quite often when we've done lives, how it's been an adjustment for you and your partner to co-navigate space.
I have an issue with, so my partner, with his work schedule, he works 3 days out of the week, like 40 hours a week, but only 3 days. So those other 3 days, usually Mondays and a Friday, he's home. And when he's home, like I'll be here on a Zoom call and next thing I know, I see him walking around in his underwear just behind me.
Right.
So like
we didn't mind it the first time.
We've all been witness to it.
I don't mind it
okay.
because he has a great body.
But
I was like, all right, Eric, I see you.
Trying to be professional, and then I just see this Asian man just walk right behind me, and I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. So for us, one, teaching him, if I'm talking to the computer, don't walk behind me. But also because he's early morning, he wants to sing, he wants to water his plants, he wants to do all of that. So I have to adjust to that because when I'm working, I'm like, type, don't bother me, no sounds, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Kind of through that, he was kind of shutting down too because he needed his space. Because usually when he's home, I'm at work. So we had to navigate that too. So sometimes I go down into like the apartment lobby to do some work. But
absolutely. And I also think that we need to digest that some more after this commercial break.
Right? Yeah, I was about to say we are about to take a break right now. So stutters attack. So we're gonna have a quick commercial break and we'll be right back. Look at us doing
Don't go anywhere. Stay right here.
No.
Yes, stay still.
Commercial.
Hey guys, Ty here from APLA Health, and I got some good news for you. APLA Health is launching our first ever at-home HIV testing initiative.
As we battle the global pandemic of COVID-19 and all that it entails,
APLA Health is doing what we can to fill the gaps for those who are in need of knowing their status, linking into care, and having safer sex options.
The initiative, officially known as Swab and Chill, will be our virtual hub for those seeking to take an HIV test, receive HIV kits, link into medical care for those who are HIV positive, while also having access to several other programs and services that specialize in harm reduction for HIV infection.
Such services include private PEP information, as well as substance abuse services. Our goal with Swab and Chill is to make HIV testing easily accessible and easy to use within the comfort of your own home.
We provide each client with the Aura Quick at-home testing kit. This kit is a simple test that is done by orally swabbing the gums and waiting 20 minutes for your results.
APLA staff is available to virtually assist clients with taking the test while providing resources and support for those who may test positive.
maybe you already know your status and you're just low on condoms and lube due to accessibility. No problem. We can also send you one of our safer sex kits right to your front door.
As we strive to keep our community safer and well-informed, your privacy is also a high priority.
All packaging will appear from APLA Health. Our over-the-phone assessments are quick, easy, and secure, so you can feel safe in sharing your results with us and asking any questions that you may have.
If you or someone that you know is interested in having one of our at-home testing kits mailed to you, or you just want more information on what Swab and Chill can provide, please call one of our team members at 323-329-9713. Or just email us at swabandchill@gmail.com.
Come swab and chill with us.
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 And welcome back. What a wonderful break. Thank you so much for joining us. I always wanted to say that.
Such a beautiful group of people there, right?
Yeah. What were they selling?
The way you say accessible in that video always tickles my fancy.
Right.
I love it.
I was like, accessible. Yes, girl.
Accessible. Yes, it's so cute.
Accessible.
No, I used to have braces, so words are hard. Like,
hard. My favorite is Rogelio at the end. Come swab and chill with us.
That was
like,
from an outtake. I thought that was going to be cut out. That wasn't in the first edit. I don't remember it being in the first edit, but
it's so cute.
Big shout out to Daniel. If you didn't know, Daniel is amazing with videos, and we really kind of worked our way into doing that. Come on, I'm here for Swab and Chill. Thank you, Joseph Wallace.
Yes.
So
Daniel hooked that up.
Let's talk about Swab and Chill. Daniel, this is your baby. So give us some information.
Well, first of all, I did not create Swab and Chill. That goes to Ty, Kai, and our social director, Dante Morrison. But I am the person in charge of dealing with the clientele that comes through in Swab and Chill. So just in case you missed the commercial, Swab and Chill is basically an at-home HIV testing initiative that we started. And basically it was started because at the beginning of COVID, when we were social distancing and everything was on lockdown, a lot of facilities stopped doing HIV testing because you can't really social distance from someone when you're trying to draw their blood and do an HIV test. And so there were a lot of people who weren't getting tested. Not because they didn't want to, just because they didn't have the opportunity, they didn't have the space to go do it. And so in looking at that, APLA wanted to make a difference. The prevention department wanted to make a difference and fill that gap. And so Kai, Dante, and Ty got together and said, what can we do? They created Swab and Chill. And it is a service that we provide for those who want to be tested, may not have access to, a testing facility. And it's really super easy. It's a less than 5-minute assessment that they do with me. We talk about, general demographic stuff. We talk a little bit about your sexual history. And then we put a kit together for you. We mail it out to you at no cost. You don't have to pay for anything. And then everything that you need is in the kit. So how to test, how to work the test, what to do with all the little things in it. And then, of course, we make ourselves available for those clients who just need that hand holding and that little extra help, if we need to do it over the phone or do a Zoom call and things like that. Thus far, it has been a really amazing experience. It has been a lot of work. A lot of work. I think Kai, in these last probably month and a half, kind of realized how much work it is because we've had to share the responsibility of all the paperwork that's entailed and of course getting the kits out. But it really is a great service, and we've had a lot of interest from people really from all over the country. We've had people call in from Texas, we've had people call in from Florida, we've had people call in all up and down California. And it's amazing to see people really take into their own hands their sexual health. And I think the biggest thing about Swab and Chill that I'm most proud of is that it allows us to really virtually meet a need. And it gives the power of testing in, it puts that in the client's hands. Right. You know, a lot of times when you get tested, you know, people feel like, oh, I have to go to you, you do it. I don't know anything about this. But for them to sit there, read through the instructions, do the test themselves, it really gives them a sense of power of their own health. And that to me is amazing.
I agree.
Going off on that, I really, sorry.
Go ahead.
I going off on that, I really think that Swab and Chill is great, specifically for the trans community, because so many trans people come into any medical space, any clinical type of setting, even if it is somewhere like APLA, which is LGBT specific, and they still go in with a lot of fears, a lot of anxieties over the process, because not only could they deal with, you know, people being rude, people being inconsiderate, misgendering them, but even like medical language tends to be very rigid and very, you know, outdated. It's definitely not caught up to us in our social times. So I think that having something like Swab and Chill and being able to, like Daniel said, give the power to the clients and empower them to take charge of their sexual health in that way is something really great, which is why we're really trying to push it for the trans community in particular.
And it's really amazing. I really have to tip my hat to being able to have worked on the Trans Connections program that Rogelio is currently a part of, because it gives me a complete different knowledge on how to approach those clients when they call in, and how to have that conversation and be aware of things like, what are your pronouns, and not just assuming, and not just, you know, because a lot of people, we know, we've done this work for I don't know how long. We've been around the circles and been around all kinds of organizations. Most people stick to a script. If the paper asks you, you know, are you male or female, that's what they're going to ask you. And for someone that's trans, especially for someone who is in discovery, like someone who knows that they're not cisgender, but they haven't necessarily defined themselves on the trans spectrum yet, that kind of question is like, whoa, well, you know, it goes into these little caveats. And so to know how to have that conversation is amazing. And that was a wealth of knowledge that I gained working with the Trans Connection program. So
it's small things. It's even like making the decision to not use gendered language. Like a lot of people, it's in their DNA to say things like, thank you, sir, thank you, ma'am. And there's no really gender neutral alternative, but like it's really
other
not that hard. Exactly. That's what I was about to say. Like it's really not that hard to just not use any gendered language at all. Just say thank you, have a great day. Like you don't have to say sir, you don't have to say ma'am, you don't have to make any reference to their gender. So I think it's just like, you know, reminding people that it's not that complicated. You can easily change your language to make it more inclusive.
So we
just said, can I request a kit even though I am in Georgia? You absolutely can. You can call us at 323-329-9713, or you can email us at swabandchill@apla.org.
Yep. We'll get it out to you. And I think for me, one of the things, because I know a lot of people always think of, you know, having to go do an HIV test. How nice is it that, one, these HIV tests first are not cheap. These are not just kind of $5 things you can get. If you go try to buy these are $50 to $75. We are sending them to you for free, so discreetly. Like there's such a privacy that I think, even for me, you know, before testing people, I was like, oh yeah, we're super private, no one's gonna know. But really mailing it out and seeing, especially when we have like trans clients, when I'm out mailing the packages to people, I'm like, this must be really, really comforting to know that they can get to do this test kind of on their own terms, when they're ready to do it, how they want to do it, and in a space that's comfortable. Because I think a lot of times comfort, as you were saying, comfort is such a big thing. I did the test on one of our social media posts, and you know, at first I was like, oh, I have to wait 20 minutes for the test result. But once I did it, I realized like, wow, this would be so great to just do like every 3 months, so easy, just to call up, get this test, and boom, it's done. So for me, one of the proudest moments I think is how easy it is for people to really do it, because one, the packaging does explain really, really well, but being able to call Daniel or anyone from the team and having someone sit there and walk you through it, nice as well, because I'm a big proponent of taking your own sexual health kind of by the horns, if you will, and really taking that step. And I think testing yourself is one of those really big things of I'm taking an active role in my own sexual health because I'm testing myself. I'm not letting someone else do it.
And one of the things that I've learned in actually doing the work and dealing with the clients, we talked about consideration. It is really, Swab and Chill has literally forced me to look at certain things very differently, because even though we're mailing it, there are people who have requested a test kit and their home address is not a safe address. If their name pops up and they live in an apartment building, they're afraid of that. So we've really tried to come up with solutions to really make it private, to really make it comfortable. And I'm even in the process still of finding different spaces and organizations around the city of Los Angeles who are comfortable working with us to be a drop-off location, where if a client says, I can't receive this at my home, we can send it to a local space. They show up, give a code, get their kit, and have it that way. Just because, again, there's a lot of things that you don't really think about when you think, let's mail you an HIV testing kit.
That's like an Amazon locker. Look at that. If you get it to your house.
I'm trying to do it. I've reached out to a couple of places. Unfortunately, they are not allowing, people to come into their facility, but I'm still on the hunt.
Yeah. I'll echo what Daniel said as well. Swab and Chill is a great tool because at the end of the day, one, everybody on this live, pat yourself on the back, because at the end of the day, the response that we did was on time and it was very effective. We are always not at the office, but always having conversations to better serve the community that we serve. So coming up with Swab and Chill, coming up with the link up, coming up with the ideas that Rogelio's had for Trans Connections, just moving forward, everything has been very community focused. And I'm really excited for you all to see some of the stuff that we have coming up. Swab and Chill is just the beginning. So the next time you are on fashionnova.com, order your Fashion Nova, and then send us an email for Swab and Chill. Reward yourself, sis. Do it.
Right? Yeah, I know it sounds like we're really, really boasting, and this isn't us. At least for me, this isn't me just saying this so that you guys would get an HIV test order. I'm actually genuinely proud of this and really, really excited for this program because it is a need that I think a lot of people didn't realize we'd even need at first, but COVID just changed everything. And we said, we're not going to wait. We're not going to sit here and we're not going to just kind of figure out what's going to happen. We decided in those moments that we have to keep going just because, everyone is locked down. People are still having sex. We know it. And I'm not going to tell anyone what to do with their lives. I can give you advice on how to be safe, but some people, are by themselves and the only comfort they get is through sex with other people. So at least let's keep it safe if that's possible. And because HIV isn't going anywhere because COVID stepped in. Miss Rona will share the limelight with HIV.
Listen, Miss Rona said, I am not moving until January 2021.
Look.
It even might not even be then.
All right.
No,
best timeline possible.
Probably not.
Now let's transition into the last part of the show, which is probably going to be my favorite part, where we get to talk about anything, pop culture, what's happening in our lives, that last hookup or date that you had, you can talk about it, anything.
Not the last hookup. Okay,
look,
come on.
If you want to share some knowledge,
do you want to talk about that? Do you want to talk about the last hookup that you had?
I mean, because it's so recent. It was literally 30 minutes before the show. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it's too soon. It's too soon.
On the clock.
During that time.
I took my lunch early.
Took an early lunch. Yeah,
took an early.
So for me, only reason I want to do this is because everyone knows I like to read. I'm a reader. If there's a book that you recommend to me, I will read it. So I just finished a book that I just have to share with everyone. And I have to pull it out because I want to make sure I say the author's name right, because that would be the worst thing to do. So the book it would be really bad. The book is called Conjure Woman by Afa Ayakora.
Okay.
So I recommend everyone to read it. So Conjure Woman is a tale about a young woman living in the time just before the end of slavery and just after slavery. She is basically the local hoodoo woman, if you will. And it's kind of her coming of age and growing story. And I know this sounds very YA, young adult, but the reason why I liked it is because it really focuses on a different side that we see in slavery. And especially now we're talking about things like reparations, things like racism. It really addresses them in ways that history books kind of fail to do, because they make these nods to real references to the Ku Klux Klan and things like that, but in the sense of a Black voice. And it was a really, really interesting read. So if you're looking for a Black female author, I definitely recommend The Conjure Woman by Afa Ayakora. I have to say it right, because if not, I'd feel so bad. But it's a long read. It's so great. So I recommend it. Took me a week to get through it, but I cried, I laughed. There was actually a lot of even like things that I know from like herbalism and herbal healing that they said in the book that was correct, which is so rare to find when people kind of talk about stuff like that. They just say, just throw lavender on everything, but they were given real references. So yeah, read that. Also, Jasmine Sullivan Lost One, if you're looking for some music, listen to it. So those are what I contribute today.
I will say this before you continue. YouTube her live performance of The Lost One.
Yes,
it's the official
absolutely.
Baby, because she does some things in that live version, that recorded version capture.
The live
and them three little chicks on the couch. I said, you better get them harmonies. You better get them backgrounds.
We have been waiting for you, Miss Sullivan. Welcome back.
Now, don't do us like Brandy, honey. Don't do us like Brandy.
We can't. It's too many Brandy fans watching this right now. We cannot do this. We will not have to
finish.
We will
Let me
not
finish
have
my
a borderline conversation.
Don't do us like Brandy when she came out with Begging and Pleading and didn't give us no album. Okay, give us the album. Don't just give us this one song and then you leave.
Oh gosh.
But
well, I will go next. I will go next. So, I have something very heartfelt that I want you guys to check out. It's an amazing show. I'm kidding. It's P-Valley, y'all. Y'all need to get into P-Valley because the show is amazing. If you are at home trying to figure out what you want to watch to currently entertain, I'm all about perspective. So I love Insecure because I love watching the Black women's perspective on LA. Like, I think it's hilarious the way that they shoot it. The writers is just an amazing show. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to find this anywhere else. It's too late for me to get into Power. They're on like season 86, so I can't even watch that. And then like there's like a spinoff that I'm just not privy to, so absolutely not. So if I could share something with everybody that's at home, quarantining, and just like, I need some entertainment, you need to get Stars. You need to watch P-Valley. It's about a gang of strippers, and they are badass, and I love it. And then also
shout out to Brandy Evans, my homegirl who plays Mercedes.
Shout out to Brandy and Nico. Nico is actually one of Dante's friends.
Yes, Nico.
Rule number 55.5 at the Pink. No crying. So you definitely have to watch P-Valley. And then for your music tip, I'm still on Summer Walker's Life on Earth. You got to get into the mood music. You got to set your candles, light your incense, pour up your little brown and sip and be upset about things that you are not even going through.
Play her Jimmy Fallon late night show live.
With the flowers.
Yeah.
I was like, Poison Ivy, give me life.
Gowns.
Yeah, summer.
Gown.
Summer. So
I guess, Raheli, you want to go next?
Yeah, I can go. So I'm a big, do you guys provide condoms and lube? Oh, wait, we already talked about that.
Yeah,
yes, we provide condoms. And that's Dante trying to,
right.
Make us talk about
you
things
saw the
that
Swab
we
and
didn't feel
Chill
we talked
commercial.
about. Child, if you want some condoms and lube, Swab and Chill does provide safer sex kits that have condoms and lube in it. Yes,
right.
we provide.
That was
all
my
of
section of the video too.
Yes, it was.
But anyway, right? Oh God, can we not? But anyway, as for recommendations, I've always been a big TV person. So like, reality TV has been getting me through it. Right before this started, Daniel and I were talking about the fight on Real Housewives of Potomac. So I know a lot of y'all probably team Monique, but you know, we team
Monique
Candace
was
over
out of
here.
line. Monique was out of line.
Candace all day.
Okay.
Team Candace
Right.
all day.
Monique was
But
out of line. Period.
besides that, like I think all the Drag Race spin-offs have been really good. I've kind of been disillusioned with the show in the most recent seasons, even though season 12 was great and I love the winner. But the spin-offs, which was first Canada's Drag Race and now recently Holland's Drag Race started. And they're both really nice, fresh, like additions to the show because I don't know, I feel like they kind of lose a lot of that like overproduced, like pandering to pop culture BS that you see in the American version of RuPaul's Drag Race, like the original. So I definitely suggest that. Well Presents Plus is only $4 a month. Yeah, I mean, reality TV, there's also Broken Silence on that, but we don't talk about that. It's fine.
Oh, God.
So I'm gonna start heavy and then I'll get lighter. So really what's been on my mind these past couple of days specifically has been the Breonna Taylor verdict. The indictment of just the one of 3 officers in the murder of Breonna Taylor. And of course, we all know that the wall got more justice than she did.
Absolutely.
I think that that has been really heavy on the community's heart. It's been really heavy on my heart just because, yet again, it is, you know, it's Emmett Till all over again. It's so many names all over again that we have to relive it. But I am definitely, you know, pushing and standing in solidarity with the motion to release the tapes and the transcripts. I just saw the lawyer of the juror who is, you know, pushing a movement and putting a movement to release those because he or she, I think it's a he, having been a part of the jury, wasn't privy to a lot of information on how the verdict came to be. So the lawyer had a press conference yesterday, which was very interesting, but I'm just hoping that justice gets served some way, somehow. I mean, it was really hard to see, you know, certain facilities and service folks prepare for rioting when this verdict, you know, before this verdict came out. And I was like, you're preparing riot gear. Verdict hasn't even been out.
Oh, we knew it was.
We knew the community.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So my heart goes out to Breonna's family and friends and loved ones, but I am believing and I'm praying and I'm hoping that there is justice at the end of the road. Outside of that, because like I said, that's a heavy topic, especially for those of us who have timelines that we see it all. Joseph said, one day Black people will matter as much as a wall. And that is simply the truth. That is simply the truth. Hopefully will matter as much as a wall, will matter as much as a gorilla and a tiger and a dog and a cat. You know, hopefully we'll just matter.
Also,
we'll just
real quick.
matter.
Hi, Johnny. I love you. Hi, Johnny.
We miss you.
So outside of that, in the world of television, I am in love with Lovecraft Country. If you are not watching,
I've seen a lot about that. I need to watch that.
I will say, okay, let me say this. I have to give a disclaimer.
Like some country
for the Native American community, I do apologize that they did not handle that community in the best way. There's some episodes that really don't handle the Native community well. Given that the entire show does address the Black experience within the 1950s. And it's kind of like a sci-fi. If you've ever read, if you were ever a fan of the author H.P. Lovecraft and his horror stories, this is what that is based on. It's based on a book. I forget the author's name. It's Matt something. But the book is called Lovecraft Country. And it was based upon H.P. Lovecraft's horror stories and writings. But this last episode, which was called I Am, there's a character by the name of Hippolyta, played by the fabulous Anjanou Ellis. And
what's her name?
Anjanou Ellis.
No, her character's name?
Hippolyta.
I'm naming my daughter that. Go ahead.
But the episode really dug into Black women not shrinking themselves for Black men, for white men, for society. and they made God a beautiful black woman and just an incredible afro, and I was here for it. But to see Ingenue, who's 51, she had a nude scene. She went into all different types of characters in this last episode, and to see a woman's real body be looked at as beautiful as it is, with no bat of an eyelash, like it was just an incredible episode. And so I am Hippolyta. For those of you who watch the show, you get what that means. But I am watching that. What have I binged these last couple of weeks? I've binged Carnival Row, which is on Amazon Prime. That's a really good sci-fi series. The Boys on Amazon Prime. Child, that superhero stuff that you like. You've never seen it before. And to tickle my anime spirit, I'm watching Full Metal Alchemist. On Netflix. I'm trying to tickle my anime.
One of Ty's favorites.
We love anime.
I just finished The Legend of Korra. I know it's not really anime, but it was really good.
Well, it's a very nice animation, but I enjoyed Korra. But outside of that, I've been writing and singing and recording music, and hopefully new music will be dropping for me very, very soon. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Come on, the music.
Yes.
So, unfortunately, our time is winding down. So
I don't like it.
I know. This is great. We'll get next week. What about you all?
Sure. Where's the check?
Yeah, it's on my calendar.
Definitely is on the calendar.
But as we wind down, we do want to leave the message to everyone watching that we here at APLA Health One understand Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter today, tomorrow, yesterday. They always have mattered. They always will matter. No matter what we see from this administration, no matter what we see from people who disagree, there is no argument. There is no agree to disagree about racism. We can agree to disagree about, our food, what clothes we wear, but we can't disagree about how we treat people. And this is not just with Black Lives Matter as well, but also what we're seeing in the concentration camps that this administration has done with ICE. We need to recognize that they are inhumane in what they are doing to the women in there with these hysterectomies and just taking someone's bodily rights away are wrong. I know that was really, really heavy, but I wanted to just people to know that here we are open, we are honest, and we love each other in the way of everyone comes to this table, ready to fight for the people who sometimes aren't able to speak up for themselves. So I want to thank everyone. Do you all have some parting words that you would like to say?
Yes, absolutely. I'm echoing everything that Kai said. Protect our Black queens, protect our Black kings, protect our Black non-binary folks. I think that at the end of the day, Black people just in general, I think at the end of the day, we all are community. We all need to make sure that we have each other's backs. Do the swab and chill. Order it. It's easy. And if you need any kind of resources or anything, condoms, lube, whatever the case may be, we will take care of you. This is a weekly show just to remind you that we are here.
My words are going to just be kind to yourself and be kind to others. And in the very small areas that you need to, pop a bitch. Don't be afraid.
It's okay.
We're still in the
You gonna drag me? You gonna drag me? You gonna drag me?
Yes. You want me to?
So Rogelio, we have a minute. Anything you'd like to say before we pop on out?
Basically, I just want to echo what everyone said, not only what Daniel said, but, also, especially for non-Black people and people who are allies to any community, to do the work for yourself, to educate yourself, to realize that it's an ongoing process. It's not about checking off certain boxes and then being done for the day or for your life. It's an ongoing, growing process. So, just everybody. Bye.
Thank you all so much for watching. Also, thank you Pyro Media for giving us these wonderful graphics and intros and outros. And we will see you all next week, Tuesday at 2 p.m. Same place. So with that,
same backdrop from Rogelio too.
Right.
Oh, man.
Bye guys.
Bye everyone.